to talk about the I Ching, a brief history is that this is originated over 3,000 years ago. Okay, traditionally people lived in villages. So this is obviously a picture of a Native American shaman, but back in the day, there are also Chinese shamans, as we're hunter gatherers. We live in this society where the medicine man or the sage or a shaman would be the head of the village. And if there's any questions a person is, you know, says asking, say if Lucky lived in 3,000 years ago and Lucky may ask the shaman, I want to go join the NBA. Should I do that? What would you say, Vicky, if I asked you, should I play the NBA?
I would ask you, is this what you should, is this something you want to do? Are you capable of doing it in your mind?
Mm-hmm. So, for those of you that's seeing this online, Vicky said that then I should ask myself: is this something what I should really do, and is this something that I'm capable? But as a young man, I might feel like, hey, you know what? I saw this uncle of mine did that. Right? He was the greatest basketball player, the greatest hunter. I want to be the greatest hunter. And for those of you who don't know me, I am 5'7.5", not very tall. So if I play the NBA, I will have a severe disadvantage. So if this is a good shaman, the shaman will make a good connection with the person and trying to talk me out of it, because you may be better fit doing something else. Because if I go to the NBA, not like I won't be successful, it'll be very difficult. I will go through many troubles and perhaps encounter many pains. So the shaman would then advise me not to do that. So this is kind of like what I Ching is to advise you to find your path. And not only that, it may also answer the question of why you wanted to do basketball. Okay? So it is to give you advice that is a win for you, end up being a win for those around you too. Okay. So the I Ching comes from the Book of Changes. Who here knows about the Book of Changes or the I Ching?
Somewhat, but not thoroughly.
Yeah. So I Ching is also connected to the Tao Te Ching, which is the second most read book after the Bible. Okay. In the Orientals, the Chinese, the Japanese, Vietnamese, Korean, if you study history, I Ching is how we learn language and understand the world, whereas the Western world, many European countries learn the Bible or the Quran to understand the basic fundamentals of language and engagement. Okay. So the Book of Changes is the name of I Ching, and in modern day, in quantum physics, is understood as quantum changes. Who knows a little bit about quantum change here?
Quantum physics.
Quantum physics, yeah. So it's basically telling a story of that life is forever changing. It's like a churning of life and death that never ends. Okay, anything has a life cycle: sprouting, right, growing up, flowering, bearing fruit, and then death, and then the fruit bearing seed, and then it comes again. Right? So is humans, so is plants, so is animals. And what is behind that energy is interesting. Okay. Now let's segue right into that. What is behind that energy is what we call yin and yang, which is in a perfect balance. There's a lot more to say than this, other than, yoga or meditation. The idea is that the yin, the black here, is material. It's something you can see and touch. It is everything that we have categorized through our material science. Okay? Now the yang is something you can't touch. So when you see a ball where there's an equal amount of yin and yang, it's said that for equal amount of material, there is a equal part of immaterial also exist. Yes, Toya.
Okay, so similar to what I was saying about quantum physics, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything is dual in nature.
Very good. Toya mentioning there's a duality of nature where for every action there's an equal reaction. Yeah, very good. So then we talk about the yin and yang, and then you see that these two fish kind of mingled with each other, right? And what does that mean? Is that material things that exist in material form seeks to become immaterial. At the same time, immaterial things are seeking to materialize, and is a constant cycle. Um, Example, we can see it in animals too. Who knows what totem animals are? Totem animals are animals that like to live alone, right? So foxes, bears. So they only come out in mating season. They have children, and for the most part, once they teach the children how to fend for themselves, and then they retreat to solitary. And the idea is that people that are solitary persons are seeking to cultivate, and through self-cultivation, it's then they want to transcend themselves into the non-material realm. So this is why these animals are considered power animals, are being worshipped by totems. And some animals like coyotes and rats, they like to live in families and communities. You don't ever see a totem with coyote on the top, right? So then this phenomenon exists in different types of animals too. So for example, in felines, we have tigers that like to live communally, and then we have jaguars that like to live alone. So then even within species, right, there are differentiation. Within human beings, there are differentiations. There are some human beings that like to be alone. There are some human beings that like to be with other people. So for this type of knowledge, it's typically for people who are looking to cultivate themselves, who are looking to transcend, for people who are prefer to be alone. In modern day, right, if you're alone, something is wrong with you. You should go take some drugs. But I hope more and more people could understand that it is okay to be alone. In fact, maybe that is actually what you're called to do. Just like, right, a material being that's seeking to transcend into the immaterial. Any comments? No? Okay. And the idea and the balance is that, right, you start gaining insight. And when you're meditating, you're really entering a realm of immaterial so that you can see the other side of the world, right, which is a whole lot.
Right, because you have to have solitude in order to meditate. You have to have peace and quiet.
Yeah. So let's talk about the I Ching. So the I Ching is by throwing these coins. So for those of you that attend, in the end you'll get a set of coins so you can go home and do it yourself. Okay. Back in the day, they used yarrow sticks, and then they would mark the sticks. We'll put it in a bamboo jar. They will shake it, and then it generates the first 6 bamboos that falls out. That's closer to a spot. They pick the 6, and then they line up a picture of 6 lines, okay, to see what the message is. All right. So then the next question is like, why yarrows? Who knows? Who knows what this plant is? Who knows about yarrows?
That's I used to know a lot of those plants. And my mother used to make a lot of herbs and stuff out of it. We used to go picking
Uh-huh.
a lot of different. I call them these. She said, no, these are medicinal plants. And we used to go out and pick a lot of plants. I used to know the names of a lot of them because we used to teas
Yeah.
and things like that. My mother was part Native American, part white.
Oh yeah.
We used to pick a lot of different weeds. I call them weeds, but she said no, these are medicinal plants. And like when we got sick, she would brew a lot of different teas and different stuff like that. And that used to grow a lot. She used to pick that particular plant, make teas and different things out of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name because it still grows everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name
Yeah.
of it, but I remember we used to pick that at dandelions.
Right.
We used to pick that because the dandelions taste just like spinach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we used to make wine out of the flowers.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that looks like a chrysanthemum leaf. That's also called German spinach.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little look like milkweed. We used to call it milkweed because when you squeeze it, it's like milk comes out of it. That's
Right.
another one that's used for medicinal things.
Yeah. So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna move a little bit closer, and you guys could still see up top, just so when you talk, it could at least pick up a little bit. So these plants, as you mentioned, are weeds. Then the next question is, where does weed grow?
Wild, it just grows wild everywhere.
Yeah. So if you go to the jungle or somewhere where there's thick vegetation, right? Rarely you find weed there. You only find weed when there is a devastation to the natural biota of the place. So let's say if you go to a park and you see hiking trails. What people do with hiking trails is that they pack the dirt and then they remove a lot of these trees and things, right? So it's almost like if you cut a place open in the body. Weeds grow on earth only when there's a natural devastation to mend. So that's what weed is. A weed is a plant that's coming to the rescue. So this is why a lot of weeds are medicinal plants. Of course, the modern theory is, oh, if there's weed, then we'll just kill more weeds. And then more weeds grow and we'll kill more weeds, right? So if I become the president, my tagline would be make weeds great again. Yeah. So, but yeah, so these plants, yarrow, this is yarrow, by the way. They're growing all along highways, all on them hiking trails, anywhere if there's been a natural disaster, okay, you can find yarrow there. Yarrow is considered one of the oldest plants, weeds on earth. So when we have these yarrows, when you harvest yarrows, you have to ask for permission from earth. Don't just pluck it. And you'll find yarrow is very generous. Okay, well, you want to harvest me, go ahead. So people back in the day, they would do is that they would harvest the yarrow, they would chew the yarrow sticks, and then they would dig a hole in the floor, in the ground, and then they would then spit the yarrow with the spit, and then they would bury that, part of that, and then they'll keep the sticks for divination or make herbs, and then that spit back into the ground is like an offering. So that was the ritual. Obviously, that ritual hasn't been done for thousands of years, but these yarrow sticks are originally what people used to do the divination. Nowadays, we use these coins. Later, we can go into why these coins. So, let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's go over trigrams, okay? Trigrams is who's here has seen this symbol before here?
You know, of course I see the yin and yang symbol, but not with the other symbols accompanying it.
So this is considered a symbol of protection in the Taoist tradition. And it consists of fire. So when you have two straight lines on the outside, one broken line on the inside is fire. Because fire is very empty inside, right? On the top here, on the outside, it's steady. Now the opposite is water. Water looks very soft on the outside, but see if you get hit really hard by water, it hurts, right? If someone spray hose you, like you can feel that. Soft on the outside, hard on the inside. And then this is all soft. So what is that in nature? Earth. Okay? Now this is the wind. Okay? Because it is soft on the lower level, hard on the top. And then for this, you read, this is called a prenatal heaven, gua, which you read from person being inside, so you're looking at it from outside. Okay. This will be a mountain, because mountain on the outside is steady, but inside there's lava and things, so the inside is actually hollow, okay, like earth too. And then this one is thunder, which is hollow on the top. When it strikes on the earth, it becomes, right? And then this one would be lake. Now, these are elements that is represented by their energy, okay? Now, what is a fire of a person within a family? What is a fire represented as an animal? What is a fire represented as an organ? Because the ancients of China have figured out that you have these energies, but these are nothing but categories. Within each category, so within nature, this is fire. Within a family, this is the second daughter. Within a body, this is the heart. Within animals, this is a pheasant or a chicken. Within plants, this is fiery plants, like fire blooms. So, and that also within different things is what, right? Within a demographic population, this will be women in their middle ages. So this is a thing, but it's also many other things. So studying this, people have to have a very good correlative thinking. So it's not saying, oh, okay, you're talking about water, you're talking about H2O, okay, so you got hydrogen. Okay, so what does that have to do with the second sun? Does the second sun have more water than the first sun? No, so science fails, right? But we're talking about the energy. What is the immaterial that is manifesting into the material? Why is this person the second sun, not the first sun? Why is this water, right? And why is this plant that? Okay, so, and then some structures in ancient China, especially these pagodas, if you go to Asian countries, you see these pagodas being erected in different places, and they have the same setup at the base foundation as this. And interestingly, for those of you that are interested in acupuncture, the pagodas are erected on the geographic location that is an acupuncture point, assuming that that piece of land is a person. So by erecting the pagoda, that land is constantly getting acupuncture, and people live there, experience harmony and peace. Okay. Now, if you're curious, this is actually not a new idea, because Rome have conquered Egypt twice. First by Caesar, second time by Augustus. And they took the obelisk from Egypt, which they erected in Europe. And they also erect obelisks in different places in the US. And that is controlled by secret society, right? That's the knowledge nobody likes to share. But the geographic location they erect is not random. There's a reason for that. So in acupuncture, it's instead of geo-acupuncture, we're doing acupuncture on the body. Okay. And so we talk about the process of consulting the I Ching. Okay, there's tools, we have yarrow sticks, coins, or sometimes there's digital methods. So for me, being a millennial, I still feel like touching something physical is better. Okay. Let me go to the next one here. Okay, so we are going to do a mini I Ching. Okay, so but first, let's talk about what kind of questions we ask when we do I Ching. So when we're formulating a question, we want something that's a reflective question where then you can later draw a revelation. So the questions that's not so helpful would be like, should I get ice cream or should I get slushies? Okay. So that's not very contemplative, right? Or maybe if you think that that's really meaningful, then you can do that. But this is more or less like big directions. And over here, I would want to have the audacity to say that I Ching, if nothing else, could help someone with their migraines. Because when people get migraines, it's because they have a conflicting idea in their mind. So the two ideas battling each other in their mind, therefore migraines. So somebody saying, oh, that person gives me a headache. They literally give you a headache because you think about, right, either it's that person, it doesn't fit in your mind, or you have not made sense of it. So whatever is giving you a headache, figuratively, literally, right? So that would be a good question that you think about. And the I Ching would then give you a guidance, just like a shaman telling Lucky if he should play in the NBA. Okay. So then we turn the question into a quest. So then you embark a journey to untie that knot that you have inside you. Okay. When you have a lot of knots, then your body has a lot of knots. Okay. Okay. So just back up really quick. If for those of you at home don't have these coins, okay, it's okay. You can use any coins so long as the coins are the same value, same weight, and they're the same. So for example, if you want to use pennies, just use similar pennies. You don't have to do exactly the year 1999, but some coins, they weigh different. So if you get a quarter from, 1800s that has silver content, so it'll be heavier than the quarter from modern day, right? So, and then also dimes too, I believe. So then just make sure that the year ranges, that it's made by the same material, and preferably the coins that they look the same. So they're evenly weighed. So when you generate a coin, you have, a more fair generation. And then also this is a process of, right, we're talking about that immaterial looking to manifest into material. So when you have issues, you have things that you're thinking about, it's actually this idea that's in you, right? This idea is a spirit. In religion, people would say that, oh, that's the angel talking to you. Oh, okay, this is the devil talking to you, right? Some spirits you hear, some people you don't want to hear, okay? The traditional sense for Asian, Chinese, is a self-cultivator seeks the highest level of self-cultivation is to transcend judgment. There is no good or bad, that things exist as they are, they exist for a reason. If something that is bothering you, perhaps is something that you need to do. Right? Maybe that is your task of why you're here. And just a quick explanation about spirits and things. I've had the privilege of shadowing a teacher, and he broke it down for me very clearly, is that there is 3 Huin and 7 Po. These are all spirits, okay? Huin is translated as soul, and Po is translated as spirits. So these are all within us, Okay? Now, as we live life, po come and go, but Huin stays. Remember, Huin is the 3, and po is the 7. Okay? Now, when we die, Huin dies with you. The po says, okay, well, you're dead, but I don't want to die yet. So bye, see you next time. And then the po lives on. Now, the po is the things that people think about. It could be something that you have a very strong emotion, feelings about. Okay? So, I guess I can go. Okay? So, personally, I've had a bad experience, I would say, when I was developing this clinic. I had hired a clinic director in the past, and I spent, I think it was $40,000 for a training. And then I took this person to the training. Right after the training, this person left. So that was $20,000, right? It's just gone. So then I may have a very strong feeling now because of betrayal, loyalty. Now, if I hear a similar situation happen to someone else, like, I'm okay about it now. At that moment, the loyalty trigger would be a trigger for me, right? So then that would maybe then spin into, right, me looking for other places, other people to talk about loyalty, how that's important, how that you should establish an organization. Within my family and friend circle, if anybody is slightly disloyal to me, I may now get on their case about it. I may even take preventative measures about, okay, maybe I should just cut this person out before this person turns on me, right? Or I could do this and that. When I sleep, I might be thinking, oh man, this person left me, and then now I wake up, it's like, okay. So this is a poor spirit that just found me at the moment that this happened. Now, this spirit could cause different things for different people. It could cause fear for one, it causes anxiety for another, it causes anger for someone else. And then that impacts a person's life. But you see, the anger, the fear, the anxiousness really extended from the spirit of this pull that a person has caused, of this idea of something that this person had a very strong feeling about. Okay? So, when we transcend judgment is to transcend that thing, hey, you know, these things happen, but then why did it happen to you? Right? So then once you start understanding, this is when people turn to a sage and then they roll these dice. So then this pull that's with me of this strong emotion I have about loyalty and betrayal that is with me in my mind, as I roll this coin, as I'm thinking about that immaterial would then now generate a coin to tell me what I need to remedy the situation. Maybe there is people that's betraying you. Maybe you have betrayed someone else. Or maybe it was because of a certain way you are that you hired this disloyal person to you. So what can you do to remedy the situation? So that is the point behind this, right? So we're getting root causes within root causes now, right? So, okay. So let's talk about this really quick. So you have to first establish, if you have a coin, some people like to use a custom coin, which is fine, but you have to establish what is the front side and what's the back side. So heads considered a 3. So you have 3 heads, so you have a 9, right? So 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. And over here you have a 3 plus 3 plus 2, then it's an 8. Oh, and tails are 2, by the way, okay? And then you have 2 on the head, then it's 7, and then you have 3 tails, and there's a 6. And these are all the possible combinations, really, there are, okay? It's more rare if you get this one. The top one is more rare if you get the bottom one. But for the most part, you're gonna get either 7 or 8, okay? And then you want to generate the coin 6 times to represent 6 hexagrams, or 6 lines to form a hexagram. And a hexagram looks like this. So if you had a photographic memory from before, you know that on the top is earth, on the bottom is heaven. And this is the example. So let's say I have 3 coins, and the first roll I rolled it 2 tails and a head, right? So then that's a 7. So there's a straight bar, okay, just to show you. 2 heads, a tails, a 7's a straight bar. And then now we have 1 head, 2 tails is also a 7, right? So then do that. And then this example we also have right on the top. It's like that, okay? But wait a minute, that looks familiar. Does that look familiar to you guys? Why?
That is like, what is that? Water. No, earth.
Oh, I see. So it's earth on top, heaven on bottom. So this is one of our videos. That's a testimonial.
I can completely move my arm again.
So for those of you that we have a lot of these testimonials, okay? But what I was going to show you is that after each testimonial or different videos that we do, in the bottom we have our animation in the end. Hey, the coin landed on this squaw. Oops. Hold on. The coin landed on this squaw. Right? Did you guys catch that? Okay. So now you know what the intro logo is about. Okay, so what does that mean? So let's look at this again. Okay. So there are many translations of different guas. So in this gua is called peace. And this translation to the right here is from cafeausoul.com. And there's many translations. I mean, I would say if you want the real translation, you would have to study not only Chinese, but Old Chinese. But different translations comes pretty close, you know, for modern day uses, unless you're a scholar or you're looking for something very specific. So for this translation, I'll just read it. So, heaven is below earth means all things moving upward and transforms into harmony. And peace is a message that's going about the flow where you worry today won't be as important tomorrow. Anything that you have previously out of place, difficult, is now receding. Chances that you feel relieved for seeing this hexagram. However, in order for peace, must experience discord, right? Hot is only relevance when there's cold, and similarly, meaningless is without the idea of a down. So you can read that. You can pause the video and read that. But essentially, when we establish peace, right, finding inner peace is what this is representing. So in the Lucky Flow logo, as you can see, I'll give you my card, by the way. That's our logo. The I Ching Divination of Peace is on this coin. Now the next question is, okay, why the coin? Obviously, we use the coin for divination because I believe that is the root cause. The root remedy is the energy and the trajectory of direction that people have, right? So within the hexagrams, so this is called a hexagram, there are a total of 64 hexagrams, and a hexagram is a trigram, which is the 8 aspect stacked on top of another, Now, I can explain that in another class. That gets a little bit involved. That actually comes to one of my projects, dissertations that I'm almost finished. It's currently at 50 pages about including the hexagram and implementing this idea into an acupuncture treatment. So the hexagram have auspicious ones and there's inauspicious ones. So when you generate a hexagram, if your issue is less favorable, it'll generate a less favorable one. Okay, then you read that and then you find a solution to that. A favorable one then just means that it's favorable. Because sometimes you ask a question, it's like, okay, well, let me just test and see, well, like I feel really good. How is this relationship going, right? With either a friend, a partner, or whatever. So that you generate, and the relationship is very peaceful, you have this one. Okay, so I would say that this, I think in tarot card, you have the lion. That's the best one. In this one, this is one of the best ones. Outcomes they can have out of 64 is peace. And also, this is why a lot of Asian people, when they take pictures, they have the two hands, right? Peace. So that's from that is we love peace. We don't like war. So then, now, I know you guys are excited about actually generating the coins and do it, but let's just talk about now the practical applications of I Ching. Okay, so one is personal growth and self-reflection, and then using the I Ching for decision making. Okay, meditation and mindfulness, enhancing your awareness and connecting with your inner wisdom. One thing on awareness, I want to tell this anecdote that I heard from one of my mentors, is that some people, so a long time ago, there was this husband that was at a doctor's appointment, and then the doctor was just like, okay, yeah, well, everything looks pretty good. And then the doctor says, okay, hey, doctor, I think my wife has hearing issues, like, is there something you can do for her? And then the doctor said, okay, well, what you can do is you can do a test. You can, when you go home, right when you get in, you say something to her, see if she hears it. If she can't hear you, then keep walking a little bit closer, and then next time you come in, you tell me how close you are, you can hear her. So then, because the wife doesn't want to go to doctors. So he said, well, good idea. So the husband went home to the wife, and then right as he got in the door, it's about 30 feet away, he says, honey, I'm home. No response. He said, okay. And he walks a little bit closer now to the dining room table. The wife is in the kitchen doing his cooking. He said, honey, I'm home. No response. Okay, so now walks a little bit closer to the kitchen now. Okay, honey, I'm home. Okay, no response. Now he goes next to her. It's like, honey, I'm home. She says, for the fourth time, I hear you. Welcome home, right? So now he may have some awareness now about, hearing. So then, so sometimes we think it's someone else, but maybe it's us. Okay? And counseling and coaching. So if you're a counselor or you're a coach, you could benefit from I Ching. But also, if you're a counseling or coach within your family, okay, it is not your profession, but it is your title. You're the coach of the family, you're the counselor. So that's also good for you. All right, now let's do a interactive exercise. You can come up with a question for those of you that are attending, and then we can form a I Ching, and then to see, right, what it says. Okay. So first, I want to ask you permission. You guys mind if this is on the recording? But also your identity would be, not be reviewed anyways. and your face wouldn't be in it. This would just be the recording of the voice and also the PowerPoint slide. So let's do, so how you generate is you find a pen holder, cup, could be any cup. Now if you want to get an A+, typically would use a bamboo cup, okay? Before the bamboo cup is a turtle shell. Now, we don't have a lot of turtles, we have a lot of humans, so let's not kill any more turtles. If you already have a turtle shell, use that, but if you don't have a turtle shell, don't worry about it, okay? Now, it's more about your intention for your question. The more intention about a strong emotion, a strong feeling, a strong thing that you keep thinking about, it's this immaterial self within you, which is this immaterial spirit that's looking to speak out, is looking to seek help. So you're rolling the coin for that immaterial to manifest. So as long as you have a sincerity to connect with that immaterial part of you that's in your brain and your heart, generating the coin, as long as you're sincere, it'll work. So it doesn't have to be right so up to specific standards. Now, for those of you that are looking for turtle shells, if you go to a Native American trade show or a Native American powwow, I think some Native Americans have the permit to harvest turtles as other objects. So those of you that are looking for that. Okay, let's find, actually, you know what, I'll just do it right here. So to roll, you just cover your hand. I'll just show you. So you can do it as long as you want, and then you go generate that. Okay, so now we have, so I'll just show you guys. So this will be heads, and then this will be tails. So this is actually Mongolian. Half of the time China was conquered by Mongolia. So they just saying, okay, well, we'll just put your language on the other side of the coin. Because they're our neighbors. That's why we built the Great Wall. The wall never really worked. But they just, so anyway, that's the front, that's the back. Okay, so this is 3, this is 2. So then I just do a for a quick example. So this will be 3, 2, 2, so this will be a 7. Okay, so then we write down a 7. Who wants to go first? So we'll each get a chance, okay? Now, why don't we do this? For each of you, you write down first of your question, and then don't show each other, and then later you do, and then you see like if this kind of answers your question, okay? Now, if it's like something that's really near and dear to you that you really, really don't want to share, but then generate a second best question, then we could do it here, and then you can do the other one on your own when you go home.